Hello, welcome to another Safety Saturday. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and you're lining up for a big new year. Today's Safety Saturday is about dust bunnies because it's a very common cause of house fires. Now, apart from the garden variety type of electrical fire, which is fairly common, you know, you might have like a Galaxy 5 phone that was on charge and just melted down. You know, that's an electrical fault inside a unit. But if there's nothing wrong with the unit, how would you have an electrical fire? Well, dust bunnies, and they're totally avoidable. So, you know, if you looked at the most common forms of house fires, you know, if you left out a kitchen, say, you left out the obvious things like candles and other things that are highly risky, this is one of those ones that's totally avoidable, that can be fixed and is easy to remedy once you understand it. So, what do you need for a fire? You need three things. The fire triangle. You need fuel, you need oxygen, and you need heat. Now this particular thing, dust bunnies, they have all three. And every time you have a power outlet, like this, a normal old power point, this one is a really old one, what you have is you have two plugs. One's a positive, one's a negative. It's actually active and neutral, but just for the sake of simplicity, we'll just call it active or we'll just call it positive and negative. So the power comes out one way and back the other way. So when you plug something in like this little plug here, you plug that in. If that's not in all the way, that's in flush, let's say it's sort of out a little bit. If you look closely, you can see the two terminals there, right? So those two pins are live when they're plugged into the wall. So if you got something to short across there, it would produce heat. Current would start to flow across those 2 points. Now there's a couple of different ways for dust and lint to build up. If you've got it permanently plugged in, dust will work its way down inside there. So every time you come around and unplug it, it's a good idea to wipe around here. Wipe around so that there's no dust on the plug, and wipe across there so there's no dust to short across. Because if you have, you know, cat hairs, this is a little bit of hemp as an example, but the same sort of fluff that you get out of your dryer, it's really light sort of stuff, light dust. Now dust can be very flammable. You look at wheat silos. Wheat dust is extremely flammable. It goes up like fuel vapor, you know, one little tiny spark and boom. So if it's light, you think of when you're a scout or a cub, maybe a Girl Guide, and you had to start a fire, you'd start with the smaller things first, the kindlings, the little bits, the thin, small bits of fuel that were easy to ignite. Well, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with bits of hair and lint that has built up over time and is sitting across the two pins, like such. You know, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but you see my point. Straight across the terminals, builds up a little bit of heat, it's got plenty of oxygen, and heat, fuel, oxygen, fire. So, what can you do about it? Regularly clean that bit of the plug. Regularly clean that bit of the socket. And if you wanted to, you go out and get the new style of plug. You'll see this type of plug actually has a little bit of insulation so that when it's in the hole, there's insulation across the terminals and it can't short. So you go around to all your old appliances. All new ones will have this type anyway, but it's worth checking. If you've got old ones that are just bare across there, then high chance of dust building up, chance for a fire. So much as you thought that maybe dust bunnies might have been little rabbits from the Northern Territory with little ears and big fangs. We're talking about dust. Light dust is heavily flammable, add a little bit of heat, and there is a point of combustion. Power points are well worth maintaining. Go around and clean them. Should all be on a safety switch. Any outlet should be on a safety switch. We test them. Every time we test smoke alarms, we'll test the safety switch for free, just as an add-on, just because we genuinely care about the safety of all home occupants. So I hope that helps, and hope you have a fantastic Saturday. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.